We're back with a new HHN spec map breakdown, and there's some big IPs that are listed on this, and one property that might be the most controversial in the history of Halloween Horror Nights. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of our future Halloween Horror Nights content. But we're back again today with another spec map breakdown, and this one is the Easter version. So Horror Night Nightmares and Legacy teamed up to do a little bit of an Easter egg hunt over on their Discord, and it took about 4 hours, but fans were finally able to put all the clues together and figure out what the new spec map looks like. So in this video, we're going to break it down. And in the past, we've only talked about the houses. This time we have shows and we have scare zones. So we have a lot to talk about. So let's not waste any more time. I know you guys watching want to know what might be coming to this year's event. So we're going to do our usual walk around the park. That's how we break down these spec maps. We're going to go through New York, make our way around, and then we'll come back and then we'll do the scare zones separately. So first we'll do all the houses. Then we'll do the scare zones and possibly what the shows may be. It's a little vague on the show side, but there's still something to talk about there. First house that's on this map is over in Soundstage 22, and it's one that we already know. They already announced it. It's Jack and Oddfellow, Chaos and Control. We already talked about this house. As far as what we know so far, we did a couple videos on it, so if you want to check those out, make sure you do that. But we are going to keep it moving, and we're going to go right next door to Soundstage 23A, and that is the Burning Book. And this is heavily rumored to be Evil Dead Burns. This has been on multiple spec maps now. The rumor has not died out. If anything, it's just kind of stood the test of time. And if you've been in the HHN game for a little bit and following speculation season, the longer that properties show on these maps and are rumored and are not debunked, the more likelihood that they're actually going to be legit. And Evil Dead Burns has been on multiple versions now. I have no reason to think that's going to be something else, but we'll say it's going to be Evil Dead Burns just for the sake of this video. Now, right next door, an interesting one, 23B, they have the little rock fist over here. This can be a couple of different things. Something that has been popping up more and more recently has been Ozzy Osbourne. And that's really not a surprise. That's been a rumor that's been kicked around for at least the past couple of months. But I still don't know if it's 100% going to be Ozzy. I feel like it's going to be a rock music focus house, but whether that's Ozzy, whether that's Heavy Metal Hell 3D that I spoke about a couple of videos back, there's a rumor going around that maybe it's Ice Nine Kills, which I wouldn't be surprised. They were featured in the Terrifier house with their music, but I'm thinking, maybe it's going to be Heavy Metal Hell 3D with some of those, music influences like Ice Nines, maybe Ozzy, but a lot of people seem to think this is going to be an Ozzy Osbourne house, which would be fantastic. It's just a question of, is the Osbourne family ready to do that, considering he died not too long ago? We'll just have to wait and see, but heavy rumors for Ozzy Osbourne. And right next door, Soundstage 24B. This icon was on the previous versions of the map as well. It's a bunch of like cosmetics. You got lipstick, mascara, a little mirror there, and the lipstick has the BuzzCon little logo on it. It has a little tiny bee with that like caution symbol. So I think this is definitely be related to BuzzCon in one way or another. Now, whether that's like a BuzzCon house or maybe it's something like Vanity Ball that has a BuzzCon influence. Vanity Ball was at HHN in the past. Maybe they bring this back almost as like maybe an origin or something along those lines, where things that happen in that storyline happen because of like bad BuzzCon products. That could be the case as well, but this is going to be an original house. As far as what it is, I am leaning more towards, maybe Vanity Ball with the BuzzCon tie-in. That seems to be the most logical thing, but we don't know. The next house over at 24A is that upside down clock. We don't need to spend too much time really talking about this. It's going to be Stranger Things. It's like 99% that Stranger Things is coming to the event, barring anything catastrophic with things falling through. You can almost bet that Stranger Things is going to be at the event. My only question with this is it going to be Stranger Things 5? I personally think so. Or is it going to be like a wrap-up house, like a compilation where it includes Stranger Things 5, but it kind of takes you through the entire story? We'll just have to wait and see. Although I since the other houses kind of stood on their own for the most part, I do think this one is going to be Stranger Things 5. And as a massive Stranger Things fan, I'm kind of hoping it's a mashup house because I don't think 5 alone is going to lend itself to a good HHN house. I could be wrong. We'll see. But I would prefer like a compilation Stranger Things house versus just a standalone 5. But only time will tell. We'll see once they actually make that announcement. That's just my gut feeling, though. And I didn't even do this on purpose. But speaking of guts, the next house is over in the Fast and the Furious tent. And that icon has stayed the same, both the location and the icon itself. And that is the intestines with blood, aka blood and guts. This is probably going to be an HR Blood and Guts house at this point. This is the, I believe, second spec map that this has stayed on. And I think it could be a really awesome house for an anniversary year. You can use that character to tell like the story of Halloween Horror Nights, talk about some of the characters that maybe won't be featured in the event where you like actually see them, but maybe there'll be nods to them in a house like this. I think it would be perfect. And an anniversary year, I said this in the last video, would be the perfect time to have HR Blood and Guts back. So it seems like that's what we're getting. And until the spec map changes, I'm rolling with that. We have a couple interesting changes in the back of the park. So the 2 tents are listed as like the Sinners one. You have like the lighter with the 2 cigarettes, smoke and stack. Sinners, I think at this point is pretty much a lock for HHN 35. It's been on every version of the spec maps. None of the rumors have died down. There's been nothing out there that has alluded to the fact that Sinners is not going to come or might fall through. The Sinners one has stood the test of time, at least up until this point. So it seems like we're definitely going to be getting Sinners at HHN 35. But next door at 10-3, the little pinhead with the cushion, aka Hellraiser, is now in this location. It used to be over in a soundstage in the front of the park on the maps. Now they have this over in the back. So there's a chance we have 2 of the biggest IPs at this event in the back of the park in tents and not in sound stages. Very interesting. Those tents, you could do a lot of cool things in them, but it's interesting to see that they would be in tents versus sound stages. And then over at tent 2, this one kind of shifted from the front of the park as well. On the last map, this was over one of the sound stages and it had like the paw print. And I thought it was going to be the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. However, this map has kind of changed my mind just a little bit on that. The paw print is still on the icon, but it's almost like a zoo type of a structure here. You could see like a cage. You could see some sort of an animal crouched down on the bottom left, and then you see a person kind of hanging over a flame. So maybe this is like either a zoo type of a house. Maybe this is like a carnival type house where like all the animals from Oddfellows, circus and that world kind of live here, and they've flipped the script. And now the animals are the ones that are attacking the humans. Could be something along those lines, but I am going to move away from my original prediction of Cat Lady of Crooked Lane just because this icon, other than a paw print, doesn't give me Cat Lady vibes at all. This is clearly a cage of some sorts. Do we possibly get a house based on like the Jungle of Doom, which was the scare zone in Oddfellows year? That could be. The more that I think about it, as I'm kind of talking about this out loud, I think that might be what I go with. So like a Jungle of Doom, zoo, animals are going after the people type of storyline is what I think we're going to get in this house. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it ties to Dr. Oddfellow, but we'll just have to wait and see. And the last house over in Tent 1, this icon was on the last map as well. You have the what looks like an alien wearing a cowboy hat. And instead of just telling you like, oh, I think there's going to be a Cowboys and Aliens house without really putting too much thought into it, I wanted to go back and try and see what makes sense from like recent years of HHN. What did they have that like had to do with aliens or cowboys or a combination of both that would lead itself to a house? And one of the things I thought was Invasion, which was a scare zone at HHN 30, I believe. and this was like an alien-based scare zone. I wouldn't be surprised if they flip it into a house. They do that all the time. Like, we've seen multiple scare zones become houses. Something else I was thinking about was, could it possibly be Lightning Gulch? Now, Lightning Gulch was a house at Halloween Horror Nights 26. It was officially titled Ghost Town, The Curse of Lightning Gulch, where these ghosts that were like looking for gold, very Western type of a feel to it. And they weren't aliens, they were just ghosts. But I'm trying to figure out, like, am I reading into this too much? Like, is this supposed to be a ghost and not an alien? So I think the two possibilities could be a Lightning Gulch like sequel, where maybe there are aliens involved, but with the idea of that icon being a ghost as opposed to an alien, or if it is an alien, which is what it looks like, my guess is going to be Invasion becomes a house. All right, it's time to talk scare zones now. And this is where things get really, really interesting. We have one thing on this map. I've already talked about it, so you probably saw that video, which makes me scratch my head. So we'll get to that in just a second. But we're going to start with the first scare zone. This one's icon is a circus tent. This is going to be like the entrance scare zone. And I don't know what the name of this is going to be, but Laura Sauls did throw out Ringmasters of Fear at the HHN panel. I think this scare zone is going to be titled Ringmasters of Fear, or some play on that. And this is where we're going to see Jack and Oddfellow interacting with guests, possibly up on like elevated platforms, having show moments, and welcoming you into the circus, the infernal carnival of nightmares. That's the overarching theme for this year's event. And I think this entrance scare zone, safe to say, is going to be where Jack and Oddfellow are, and this is where the story begins. Next scare zone is over in New York, and this one has a clown icon on it. Now, I would love for this to be Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I didn't get a chance to see that when it was here in years past at HHN. I love that movie. I think it's so, like, you know, it's a cult classic, right? Like, you have to love Killer Clowns. So would I love to see it as a scare zone? Yes. However, while the circus theme is there with clowns, I do think this is going to be an original scare zone where you have like just demented clowns, you know, all sorts of weird like circus people, things like that. But like murderous clowns is probably where we're going with this. And they're all kind of controlled by Oddfellow and Jack. So I think the overarching story, for the most part, is going to be tied to Jack and Oddfellow. And that's why I don't think this is going to be Killer Clowns. I could be totally wrong, but I think this is going to be more of like an original HHN Clowns type of a scenario, because there is an IP-based scare zone that's on the spec map that we'll get to in just a minute. So I can't see 2 of the 4 scare zones being IPs. And on an anniversary year, I just don't think that's a possibility. A couple of days ago, Alex and I put out a video talking all about Fortnite and how much we don't want it at the event. It's been the controversial topic of speculation season. And I hate to say it, but Fortnite is on this spec map. Now, there's a banana icon. There's a banana character in Fortnite. This rumor hasn't died yet. So according to this spec map, as of the recording of this video, that rumor is still on the table. Now, I already shared all my thoughts about it. I'm not going to rehash them in this video. If you want to check that out, I'll leave it up in the corner. Too long didn't read. Definitely don't want Fortnite at the event. I'm okay with like teenagers and whatnot coming. You have to bring in the next wave of fans, but this is not horror. So I am very much against Fortnite. I didn't mind Five Nights because that was a horror video game. And sure, it skews towards the teenagers, and that's fine. I enjoyed the Five Nights house. I thought it was a really good addition to the event. Fortnitemares, although it's a scare zone and not a house, it's just crazy on an anniversary year that we would give up 25% of the scare zones to Fortnite. That's all I'll say about it. It's on the map, whether we like it or not. Hopefully this is not on the next version of the spec map, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now we're going to move over to the Hollywood scare zone. This one I'm really excited about because of the location. So the icon doesn't really need much, debunking. It says 35 years. So this is going to be an anniversary zone. I think we're going to see characters from HHN's past, Maybe this is where you see other icons like Chance, possibly Eddie. Who knows what's going to show up in the scare zone? But the fact that it's a 35th anniversary celebration and it's in Hollywood. Hollywood is my favorite location for scare zones. It's huge. They do awesome set pieces in there. I am insanely excited to see what they do with the 35 scare zone. And it might sound crazy. I'm just as excited for this 35th anniversary scare zone as I am for some of the houses that are rumored at this year's HHN. That's how cool I think it's going to be. So very excited for that. That wraps up the scare zones. The only two things left to talk about are the shows. And to be honest with you, I don't know what that icon is over by the Nightmare Fuel stage. Is it for Jack in the Boxes? Is this going to be like another Jack show? I have no idea. I don't even want to like waste any time on the video trying to figure that out. It's hard for me to even tell what the little icons are. They look like little boxes, but maybe it's just me. And then the Lagoon show, there's nothing other than a picture of, fountains. So I spoke about this in our last video as well. It's rumored right now to be an IP-based Lagoon show. Now, Stranger Things is rumored to be a part of that, whether it's a Stranger Things show or whether it's just kind of like a montage of a bunch of different IPs. But that's the rumor as of recording this video, that the days of like an original story like a Ghoulish are probably over for this year, but none of that's confirmed. It's just speculation and rumors, but that's the latest for the Lagoon show. But let me know what you think down in the comments below of the latest spec map. Are there things on the map that you think are going to be different from what I said? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. And like I said, unfortunately, that banana is on there. And as of now, looks like Fortnite actually might be coming to HHN, which is just insane to think about. But let me know what you guys think about this latest version in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a nice big thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe to the channel down below. We are like 100 subscribers away from 10,000, which is a huge deal for us. So if you're new and this is your first time seeing any of our content, make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss out on all of our future videos to come. With that being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys real soon.